Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Thornburg, and I'm going to do a comparison of the United Kingdom's vaccine schedule for Prevnar against the United States' recommended vaccine schedule for Prevnar. Prevnar vaccine was first introduced in 2000. It is designed to help fight against invasive pneumococcal disease. Pneumococcal is the number one causing bacteria for meningitis. It also causes pneumonia, ear infections, sinus infections, basically anything from the lungs up to the top of the head. The vaccine, as I mentioned, was introduced in 2000. There's been several versions of the vaccine. So we are currently on version 15 to 20. And what I mean by that is how many different antigens or different strains, if you want to look at that, of strep pneumo are included in the vaccine. So first we started with Prevnar 7, and then it went to 13, and now we're on Prevnar 15/20. In the United States, we begin the Prevnar vaccine at 2 months old, and then we give additional vaccines at 4 months old and 6 months old with a booster between the ages of 12 to 15 months old. So those are 4 doses in the United States Prevnar schedule. In the United Kingdom, they give 2 doses. They do 1 dose at 3 months and then a second booster dose at 12 to 13 months old. So they only give 2 doses. Why does the United States require 4 doses and the UK requires 2 doses? And remember, the entire world uses the same scientific literature. We don't conduct our own by country, country-specific research, and then only apply that research within our country. We all share the same data. Remember, the vaccines are coming from worldwide corporations, and they are conducting their research all over the world in order to capture a lot of different populations. The literature is pertinent to all different countries. So the United Kingdom's health ministry and the United States Health Department obviously are interpreting the scientific literature differently. And we know that here in the United States, there was a high level of invasive pneumococcal disease prior to the vaccine. After the introduction of the vaccine, there has been a significant decrease in the incidence of invasive pneumococcal disease. There is also a difference in the incidence of disease between the UK and the United States. The incidence now, post-vaccine in the most recent years, is over 1,000 cases of invasive pneumococcal disease in the US, whereas in the United Kingdom, the incidence is around 50 cases a year. So significant variance between the UK and the United States in the incidence of invasive pneumococcal disease. However, there's also a population difference. So while those numbers of 1,000 cases, 50 cases a year, they're just absolute numbers. But if we were then to do a per capita, so we would balance out the number of cases across the population, specifically in that age group under 5 years old, we will see those numbers coming much closer together given the size difference of the United States population in comparison to the UK's population. While that's all interesting that we have decreased the number of cases, it still doesn't change the fact that the UK gives 2 doses, whereas the United States gives 4 doses. And you can look at my other videos about the excipients that are in vaccines, which can cause problems with developing organ systems, such as our immune system, our nervous system, such as our GI tract, putting a burden on our detox pathways. So you can watch those other videos. So obviously, if we could get away with 2 vaccines instead of 4, that would be much better. So why has the United States not changed the number of doses? The UK has decreased the number of doses over the years, but the United States has not, because the United States is still relying on that pre-vaccine introduction data. They haven't updated their data. So they're using 20-year-old data to justify continuing a 4-dose series. The next question that's begged is, well, are 2 doses as effective in producing antibodies against strep pneumo as 4 doses? And the answer is an overwhelming yes. The UK supports their 1+1 system of Prevnar administration with effectiveness. That means when they administer the 1 dose at 3 months and then the second dose at 12 to 13 months old, those children achieve adequate titers, adequate antibody levels to fight the disease should they encounter it. The United States 4 dose clearly provides enough antibodies. So what I think is a possible path forward that I am going to begin to discuss with my families in my practice is, if you're not sending your child to daycare that first year of life and you don't have a necessity to have the vaccines on schedule so you could have them attend daycare or school, then we'll give 1 dose at 3 months. We won't give the second, third dose. And then when the child turns 12 months old, we'll give a second dose. We'll just basically follow the UK schedule, and then we'll check antibody titers. Once we check the antibody titers and we see, like the UK's health ministry has found, that their child, baby, toddler will have adequate antibody levels, then I can sign off on the immunization schedule at only 2 doses instead of having to give 4. So this is a way to kind of play catch up with science and decreasing the toxic burden. Bring up that idea with your pediatrician. Obviously, you have to work with your pediatrician. This is completely science-backed. You can ask your pediatrician to look at the UK schedule. Ask them also to see that after 2 doses, the child has adequate titer levels, and that you want to do the same and add on the titer test just to verify that the physician can sign off on the immunization sheet, because if you have adequate titers, you don't need additional doses. And hopefully you found this information helpful, and I will see you on the next video, and thank you very much for watching.